Hey Lazy Bones, this is the Bearded Beast of Dulac, aka Steve. I want to make a video addressing your deadlift form because sometimes it's easier to explain things face to face, so to speak. So, looking at your deadlift form, overall it has some. Your setup is decent. Okay, the issue really wasn't so much with your setup; it was after each rep. Your hips kept creeping. You started about here, which is a good setup, and then your hips kept creeping up and up and up with each rep, and by the end of the set, you were basically hanging out over the bar, as we call it. Your butt was way up, and as your butt comes up, it moves your shoulders forward. And it just puts you in a bad leverage position. So it's not a major form flaw. That's a common flaw. Nothing to really be too concerned about. It's just a discipline thing. You just got to set and reset slightly after each rep. Just we're not talking waiting several seconds between reps, but just I bring after each rep, I bring my hips back up and then set them to that leverage point again and then pull. So just watch that. You get that squared away and your deadlift form is in pretty good shape. Watch that the bar's not rolling out over your feet with each rep. That's another common thing I see when I'm looking at sets of deadlifts. Guys will start with the bar at point A, and then it'll just slowly roll a little bit forward, but that will make a big difference when you're pulling. Even a half inch or an inch, that bar rolls a little bit, and it's going to put you in a more awkward leverage position. Your hips are going to come up a little bit because it's too far out. So just keep an eye on that. And when I was referencing flat back, I was talking about your upper back. Your lower back was nice and tight. Your upper back was almost stiff to the point where your shoulders, where it was pulling you down. Okay, when you want to, when you have the bar, you want to relax the shoulders so you can stand as upright as possible. Once you're in that upright position, then you can tighten up and then you start to pull. So you're kind of like straight and flat in that upper back, almost like you're trying to tighten your upper back perfectly flat. You want to kind of relax those shoulders a little bit so you can stand a little more upright and then tighten it. And, I don't know if that makes sense. That'll help you stand a little more upright. It's okay to have a little bit of upper back rounding. That's not a bad thing. Or a little bit of shoulder rounding or whatever you want to call it. That's not a bad thing when you're pulling because it can help you get a little more upright. It'll help you keep a little bit better form throughout sets, and it'll help you pull more weight and keep less strain on your lower back. It doesn't have to be exaggerated, but just don't try to purposely keep that upper back tight like in some kind of, bodybuilders tend to do that. Like they have to keep everything perfectly aligned at, perfect angles and all that. Forget that. You got to take care of your body, and you got to deadlift right. So just keep an eye on that. I also want to address lifting heavies. Quote about experienced deadlifters. His hips were up, and other experienced deadlifters deadlift like that. I didn't mean any disrespect by the comment, but here's the thing, okay? You guys have to understand that guys like us that are not only been doing this for 25 years, but we train people. We're constantly critiquing form, and we're working with some of the best lifters in the world, some of the strongest pullers in the world. I communicate with guys like Tom Martin, who pulls. I've communicated or interviewed with guys like Tom Martin, Joe Norman, Jonathan Bird. I've talked to Brandon Lilly. I've talked to the Lillibridges, Pete Rubish. I know how these guys set up. I've seen them in person. Either I've seen them in person, I've interviewed them, I've talked to them. I know how experienced deadlifters pull. And here's my point, okay? You guys have to understand that there's some things we see as experienced strength athletes that we're used to correcting that you might not have the frame of reference or reference point to understand yet. So when we give you advice, a lot of times on the forum we're met with but so-and-so does this, but so-and-so does that. And when lifting heavy mentioned that experienced deadlifters deadlift with their hips up, they don't. They do not deadlift like that. They deadlift at a good leverage point. And like I said, I'm not trying to be argumentative here, but I'm just trying to tell you we're trying to get a point across to help you. And you know, you got to try to listen and research what we're saying, you know, so we can help you, because there are some valid points we're trying to get across. This isn't, you know, we're not giving you information that's highly debatable. I would never give you borderline information. I'm giving you the best way to pull based on the best lifters in the industry. So, you know,